I don't think it's an illusion of choice though, because it tells you the direction to go.
It's the illusion of choice, man. They're telling you where they want you to go, but they're making you feel like you can go a different route.
Welcome back to the show, the Lukewarm Pod. I guess it's
Lukewarm Podcast, been rebranded.
Rebranded.
Did you watch the update stuff?
The emergency press
conference?
conference?
First I've heard of it.
No, he actually did. He actually did watch it. The emergency press conference.
Yeah, but I watched it, but while the editing was a bit,
yeah,
going.
I made a faux pas initially.
Yeah.
And Sos had to call me out on it. Thank you.
Yeah, well, you're welcome.
But no, there's multiple ways to go. I think with most things, there are multiple...
We're back on it. Go on.
So, can you just give me a recap of why we had to change? Or not on
the
camera?
name? Or...
Yeah.
Well, it's just... Yeah, because I'm moving overseas. And I guess I'd always thought about changing the name of the show from the Outspoken show. That sort of just brought it about, the move overseas, because it would have been hard to continue the pod together or as a group.
Cool.
How do you feel about that stuff?
No, that's all right. That's all right.
Is that the answer you wanted?
No, that's it. Good.
How does it feel?
That's fair.
How does it feel to be one of the last time?
Oh, an absolute
it won't
honor.
be the last time.
Look, for all the viewers out there, it took a while for Luke to accept me and have me on the show, but ever since I first came on the show, he just begged me every week to film and, had a pretty busy schedule. So it's been an honor and privilege to partake on this journey with you.
I feel as if I had to convince you.
No, Luke, come on. I told you from the start, mate, that I'd get you views, and what have I done?
You've told us from the start.
Comments, TikTok views, you name it. I've got it, mate. You're welcome. And I feel privileged to be in this position. Thank you.
What was your first episode?
I don't remember, but it was the old setup, and it was just amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
You like the table setup. You don't like this casual round table approach?
I don't want to keep bringing it up, but just look at the 2 seats and then look at mine.
You've actually got a better seat now.
No, it is.
That's an upgraded seat.
Yeah. I told Luke if I'm going to come back on, there's got to be some change.
There's got to be some padded cushion.
And he changed the name, not change the seating. Sweet.
Something had to change.
Yeah.
It's a big deal he upgraded because he's leaving.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to upgrade. He could have just slowly withered you down. You could have been on your knees today probably. And he wouldn't have minded.
He could have, but I think that would get him in more trouble than what it's worth.
He's leaving the country, mate. He doesn't.
Seeking asylum.
What are the extradition laws in Canada? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't think making someone kneel would be part of it, but then again.
Depends where we go from there.
I have a banger of a story.
Go on.
Okay, so we're down at Pottsville for Easter. Happy Easter, everyone. And I'm just driving not far, just down the road, and cops doing RBT. I think it was Easter Sunday. Rare, very quiet. Pulls me over. So, do you have your license? No, I don't. Which is fine. Just need to give out some more details. What's your name? From Queensland. He sort of asked why I don't have my license, but nothing really. And then, just for reference, I'm born in 1999. And it was an Easter Sunday, very quiet. So when he says, what did you get up to in 1995? I think it's a joke. Police officers probably aren't joking. But what I said was, I got up to so much shit.
Yeah.
4 years before I was born.
Yeah.
And then he goes, no, but what'd you do? And then I thought, oh, he's not joking.
Yeah.
And I said, nothing, like this is years before I was born. I was born in 99. He goes, oh yeah, it does say you were born in 1999. And he goes, and what were you doing in 2008? No, it was 2007. I said, probably not much.
You've already stained your pants by this point.
No, I actually had it. I thought he was joking. But I've been slowly realizing he's not. And he goes, oh, you were 8 years old. He goes, you're wanted in Queensland. So the first time I was wanted in Queensland for 1995, and now I'm wanted again in Queensland for what I did at 8 years old. And he goes, now you're a hardened criminal.
So what did you do?
Well, nothing. He goes, just so you know, you're on the record as wanted. Obviously, I blew under the limit, so he just lets you go.
Wow.
What crimes were you doing at 8 years old?
So much shit.
So was this just his way of figuring out if you were lying about any details about your license, or is there a Luke Kingdon who's wanted for the crimes that were committed in 2007?
I never thought of it like that.
Because I'm trying to work out, is he just having a go
That's
to
the
see...
most logical way to think about it.
Well, I thought it might have been a spelling error. That would be the only... Or there's another
that's
Luke
true.
Kingdon.
There's probably another Luke Kingdon.
Yeah, there probably is.
who's committed crimes.
Well, there's probably one, because didn't you say you're in New South Wales?
Yeah.
There might be one in New South Wales.
But he did mention wanted in Queensland.
Yeah, but so he might live in New South Wales, but he did the crimes in Queensland, so he's wanted in Queensland.
Actually, one of the things
Might
I
be from
said,
Perth.
which I probably shouldn't have said, but I said, that's sick. Like,
Luke, do you know who you're talking to when we?
Yeah, seriously. It's not GTA, mate. Like, you just can't.
Yeah.
He has done comedy for a while, so he's practicing bits
Yeah.
on anyone.
Mm.
And just,
no,
you
I
know,
just thought
Did
it
you
was
tell
really
him?
cool.
Did
And
you-
didn't have the...
Did you plug the show with him, or?
No, I didn't do any of that.
lukewarm.
But that's so weird. But it was also weird that, like, imagine if I was a murderer,
Yes. I
but I'm
imagine
wanted
that.
in... Okay, good. And I'm wanted in Queensland. So he just lets you go?
Yeah.
I don't get that.
Yeah, but he's not.
If
but
you've got the opportunity to arrest me for...
think about it, like it's 2022, right? And you're wanted in 2008. If they haven't found you by then, they need to sort that shit out.
And I'm sure they would have had a picture profile of the person,
Yeah.
seeing it's not you. Maybe he was having a joke with you, Luke.
Yeah, maybe he was joking and you
I
were
saw
joking.
that, but I realized it wasn't a joke when he actually wanted details.
Yeah, it feels like a verification process to make sure you at least know whatever age your fake license is under or whatever you're doing. Like,
What did you do at
Further
8 years
vetting.
old? I lost the game of tic-tac-toe and
Yeah.
I hit a bloke.
I was running circles around the yard.
I bashed this guy and then Mac is a playground.
yeah, too much red cordial. I wasn't myself.
Yeah.
I can't be held responsible for my
Oh,
actions.
far
I was
out.
under the influence.
Now that you've got a kid, did you
Talk to me.
talking about having more things that we should have? Bonjela? Do you
Yeah.
know what that is? It's for the gums.
Yeah,
Yes,
bro.
Like
yes,
a licorice
yes,
taste?
Especially when they start teething and stuff.
Do you have any of that for Adelaide? Oh, she's not teething.
Nah, not yet, but there's plenty of Bonjela around.
Yeah.
Mum's got a jar.
That was something I would always binge on. Like when you talk about the red cordial, that was.
What do you
my thing.
mean? How old are you when you're binging on
Are you
Bonjela?
okay?
Oh, probably like
Like everything
5,
alright?
young.
So you would like put it in your mouth on purpose?
Yeah, that was. I mean, it goes in your mouth.
Yeah, but why would you like just have it
What-
randomly?
Yeah, was it for just you were bored, you got some
Because it
Bonjela,
doesn't
you
taste
shoved
good.
it in?
You can't tell me
Or
it tastes good.
a little bit of irritation, you're shoving it in.
I just remember this one time I got caught because I was sitting in the cupboard, the clothing cupboard, eating Bonjela.
Mm.
And maybe it was
I think it does taste alright. Isn't it like sweet? It's like,
aniseed.
yeah.
Licorice.
Yeah.
I hate aniseed.
See, there you go.
Okay.
I would love aniseed too, so I probably would down
Oh,
it.
so like you like the taste of it. That's why you're eating.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't just for something to do.
Make sure you're putting it in your mouth.
Yeah, sorry.
Don't forget to put it in your mouth. Yeah. No, that was just something that I got caught out with when I was young,
Wow.
Yeah.
as well as being a hardened criminal.
Your addiction to prescription meds, hey?
Pain meds. Have you seen Pain Thugs? Prescription Thugs?
Is that about opioids?
Not opioids, but
Close.
prescription drugs. Specifically, follow people around from the WWE because they would constantly take. I mean, because they're constantly. I'm saying constantly a lot.
Yeah.
Just
'cause
sort of
you're
jumping on the
constantly
floor,
saying
bruising
it,
muscles, injuring themselves, and they're doing 200, 300 shows in a year. So most nights they're doing this sort of stuff. So they'll be taking all these prescription drugs to ease the pain as well as compensate for training they're not doing
Yeah.
because they're on the road traveling as much. Very interesting.
Oh, they
Very
have
interesting.
a rigorous schedule, and their bodies go through the ringer. I know it's like, whenever I used to be like, stop watching, it's fake. But then you actually learn about how much you do. I'm like, okay, it's not real in terms of competitive, but it's a show and it's real on
Yeah.
their bodies. They
Yeah.
are
Physically-
going through
physically
hell.
demanding.
Oh my god,
It is. And like the rehearsals and stuff. Because remember the NRL player went over?
No.
Daniel Vito used to play for the Broncos.
Yeah.
He went over and tried to I think he made it. He's in it now. But
Oh, wow.
yeah, he went over and he like kind of documented like the training and like the recruitment process and like what
Vince
he
McMahon.
said he pushed his body more over there doing that in like a month than he would like playing in the NRL.
oh unbelievable.
Just obviously different discipline. Like it's not all the cardio and
Yeah.
that kind of thing, but pushing his body every day, like the training, the rehearsing, weights training, the mental side of it too, like building your own character, like you had
That's
to do.
the interesting part.
Yeah,
They have scripts written out for you. You
Yeah.
follow it. You like. I think some of the actual wrestling is ad lib. Like
yeah,
they know each other well enough. They like say, "I'm going to do this move." We do it in the ring, and they come
Yeah,
up with
it's
it.
full- it's
so
rehearsed.
results are sort of like they've all determined what's going to happen. You play that heel or that baby face, and it's
Yeah.
just like it's a whole show. It's a
It
whole
is,
story.
Yeah,
It is incredible how popular it is
yeah,
still.
It's so weird that something so. I guess
So obviously,
so
fake?
obviously fake, and we knows fake is so. And I mean, I'm not a huge fan. I used to be when I was very young, but I guess it was like 100-meter sprinting. Most of them are probably all doping.
Okay. Go.
That's
So-
a big claim,
so-
but okay.
But who cares about wrestling because it's not even competitive.
It is. I mean, it is competitive.
But it's not like you're doping, so it's not competitive in the way that.
No, but in
It's like
terms of the fakeness, we know it's fake. If we
Yeah.
know everyone's trying to get ahead,
Yeah.
we're still interested.
Imagine if these guys weren't doing steroids and their schedule is what it is and the amount
Yeah.
of pain they put in.
Yeah.
Like, your body couldn't handle it.
Your body would not be able to
You'd crumble.
handle it. Yeah. But it's also like obviously it's for the look as well. But like when they lifting each other and like they lift those big blokes, like you need that strength.
But not all of them
falling
look
on.
that great. They're big people,
But I'm saying like
but they're not.
their weight, like in terms of them when they lift each other and they're jumping and
Yeah.
they're rolling over, like it's like pretty specific skills.
Or when Logan Paul talked about it on his podcast, because he just did a WWE debut, I guess, and he was saying that jump off the top rope, the canvas, it's wooden floor, so there's a little bit of give, but you're still jumping on a floor.
Yeah.
It's still gonna hurt,
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
which is
And that's why I think the reactions are kind of like obviously it's fake, but the reactions they overdo the reactions, but there is some pain. Like,
it's probably
involved.
yeah.
like and when they jump down and they slam each other and stuff, like it's got to hurt.
Mm.
It's got to hurt a bit.
Yeah. Your pain tolerance would have to be next level. Like,
Yeah.
I
And
wonder
then,
if that develops
Like
over time. You just-
staying in character as well when you're under that pain. Like if someone hits me or like I'm in pain, like I just lose it. I just go nuts and probably just go after the other guy. You know what I mean? But they got to like stay character, stick to what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like go on with the show as such. Yeah.
That's a good point. I mean, not that I know anything about wrestling, but no one breaks character because of an injury. Does that happen?
Apparently, like, there are times where they do, and if you break character or do anything that's off script, you get, like, destroyed in the back. They get angry at you. Like, because I think it's the writers who get angry at them, because if they, like, do something wrong, like they pin the other guy and they win the match when they shouldn't have, they have to then rewrite a whole script that they've written
Yeah.
months in advance. So it's
I
a
get
big
what you're
deal.
saying.
It's a big deal if you go off script too much, because they have planned out what it's going to be and what the next 10 shows are going to be
Yeah.
with you as this character in this way. So if you go off script, you get...
Yeah. But
It's a big
just
deal.
the crowds are just ridiculous.
Oh,
Like they
what-
pack out whole arenas for
Why are
this.
people so interested though?
It's like a stage play. It's
But
like
I also think it's
drama.
generational. Like over there, from like what I've seen, like people who are like into it back in the day are like taking their like younger people and like kids and stuff. Like it's a thing that you just grow up with, kind of thing, and then obviously you take your kids to over there.
But I think it's like anything where it's the representation of the hero versus the villain. In
Yeah.
every single one of the matches, there is as they call it, the heel, which is the bad guy, and the baby face, which is the good guy.
Yeah,
And it's like that. Where you're in there, you're either rooting for the good guy to win or you like the villain. But who likes the villain? But you're always rooting for the good guy to win or the
Yeah.
bad guy to lose. And they do such a good job of, in the most basic format of like fighting, but stage fighting, representing good versus bad in that whole story. I'm trying to,
yeah,
but it's just like a classic story. Of
yeah. I get what you're saying.
evil
Like it's,
versus good.
Yeah, and you kind of it's
a very-
predictable in that you can kind of work out the outcome
yeah.
in a sense as well.
Yeah, but
Like-
they break it up just enough where the
Yeah.
bad guy will win or the bad guy will flip to good, and it's
Yeah,
got redemption. It's like everything.
yeah.
Actually, I watched.
Oh my
this,
god, it's
It's a whole like storyline.
yeah, redemption and
I saw
good,
this thing
bad.
on.
It's
on-
Batman.
yeah, it's everything. It's Superman, Batman combined. But come on,
I saw this thing on Instagram, and it was a gender reveal, and I guess it was some sort of WWE type thing where they got these two brothers of the sister who's having the baby,
Yeah,
and one of them was in pink, one of them was in blue. They jumped into one end of the swimming pool, and it was race to the other side. But then they would pull each other forwards, throw each other's back, and then they sort of, one of them eventually got to the other end, and that person was the gender. But they were always sort of pulling each other back, and it was just this back and forth. And it was like, okay, so that's, obviously it's been scripted, but it was just interesting to see it in that way.
yeah,
Yeah.
and there's entertainment in things that aren't real.
yeah,
Like-
Mm.
You hear the idea that like not always objective truth being the most true thing. That's why fiction is so
Just
like desirable in
Yeah.
movies, because it's like it's not true per se, but it tells a story that's like deeply human.
The whole
deeply
concept
true,
of it,
it's
though,
interesting.
like the whole concept of it as a business is so smart. Merchandising, like the way it's marketed. They've got girls and boys. Like they're like you can pick your own kind of hero. Like mine would used to be John Cena.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
John Cena was the guy.
Yeah, like you just it's something that's so entertaining, and there's so many different factors that go into it. And then, like from a business standpoint, like they must make so much money.
Oh yeah, Vince McMahon is killing it.
The goat.
He's loving it.
You mentioned fiction
Yeah,
because you've started doing some reading.
I did. I did after 20 whatever years. Forgot my own age, but like decided books are probably important to get into.
But imagine wanting to get into books and not buying one book, buying 10.
You bought 10
One
books
of
at
them's
once.
an 1,000-page book.
Yeah,
You bought 10 books at once.
Of course, you have to buy 10 books because it motivates you then
You
to
don't.
not just read one book. I've got 10 now. I've got to read.
See, I'd buy like one or two, so that when you get one or two, then you have to go get other ones. If you got them, then I just feel like they'd sit there and you're not going to read them.
It's also overwhelming.
Is it?
Have you got like a bookshelf now?
I've got a mini bookshelf, but I haven't got a whole nice bookshelf. As I read more, and
Now that you're a father too, have you got like your own little chair, like your reading chair, like a big?
I haven't got there, but I
When
have
you get
thought
like a
about it.
recliner.
I've thought of even like some of
Even
this,
something like
this
that.
is the
Yeah.
perfect kind of chair to just
Yeah.
sit in and
What
Yeah.
sort of books did you get?
what kind of books? Well, some of them they're like classical fiction books. So like, there's this really influential guy that I listen to. He's a clinical psychologist named Jordan Peterson. He wrote a book. He does all these lectures talking about like I don't know being a better person essentially. But he's a great. I recommend you look into him if you're ever interested in like learning about your own psyche or just like moving forward in life. Really good. It is.
Moving forward.
How long have you been listening to
Most
him?
people should be looking
No, I'm
at
being
that.
serious. I'm being serious.
I first heard about him like 4 years ago, but like
Yeah.
I've been deep diving recently, especially on my time off,
Yeah.
because he does stuff
Do you
about
feel like
parenting.
do you feel
being
like
a parent.
it's changed your perspective on a lot of things?
It's been very influential in terms of just ways of thinking about things. But he has a list of these classic books that help like stimulate his intellectual development.
Yeah, yeah.
So I ordered a few of them, and a lot of them are like classic books.
10.
A lot of them fiction, a lot of them philosophy. 10. This list he's got is like 15 main ones, and then there's like 300 other ones. So there's a bit of work to be done.
Slow down.
But they're essentially like these 10 of the books off
Yeah.
that list. And they're just, a couple of them are fiction, and a couple of them are like understanding the human psyche. Like a lot of them are about, one of them's about, it's called the Gulag Archipelago, about the Soviet Union and
yeah.
what that was like and what it was like and how people were treated and
Are you seeing
how they
any
overcame
parallels
it.
to now?
I haven't started reading that one yet. It's one of the 10. But yeah, a lot of it's talking about how like the Marxist ideology
Yeah.
is like in looking at that
What
and
is
seeing how
there-
Marxist?
Marxist. It's like socialism where
The left?
not the left. I think that's what they call the radical left or whatever in America.
Marxism
yeah,
is
it's
radical left?
Marxism. It's like a way of organizing society that isn't. It's like socialist that isn't capitalist. It's an alternate.
Is
which
there like
is
an order to the books? Like, is there how are you meant to read them? Like, how do you?
Oh
pick-
no, I think it's just
Do you like flip a coin and go, I'm going to read this one today?
no. So this is how I ordered. The first one, I'm like, that's a 250-page book. I've read this one, A Brave New World, which a classic book about a dystopian future. It's a good book, but 200 words or 200 pages, whatever. I can read that. I started with
Yeah.
a nice, easy one at first.
Yep.
That wasn't daunting.
Did you get through that in like a day or?
Nah, 250. No, it was like 4 days.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty good
Yeah.
for me, considering
That's
I
extremely
don't think I finished a book since I was 13.
Oh wow.
Like, I don't think I'd read a full book. I'd
Yeah.
started a few, but never really got in. Like,
that really surprises me about you because you seem, well, you are intellectual, but
I
it's surprising that you don't read.
I think a big part of that has been like 10 years of consuming countless podcasts where it's not just people shooting the shit, but people talking about things.
Yeah.
So like,
So,
I use
like,
that
not
as
like
a way,
us.
yeah, but I use that as a way to like stop myself from reading, or as a way to like not even be interested in it because I didn't have the focus.
Yeah.
But I feel like, although I've learned a lot from podcasts, I feel like I skipped a step. So like when you're listening to podcasts, you're listening to these people who are really intelligent,
I was
talking
going to
ab-
say this. Yeah.
talking about things that they've read about and they know about.
Yep.
So you're like skipping that step of having that base
Yeah. So
knowledge
there's not.
of the text they're talking about.
Yeah. You don't have like the theoretical side of it. You've got like not the end result, but like the action or like the practical side of what like
Yes.
what's happening. Yeah.
So you can understand what they're saying and their conclusions they've come to.
Yeah.
But you don't quite fully understand unless you hear them talk about it 20 different times and kind of
Yeah.
gauge it. You don't really understand what they're referring
Yeah.
to And I feel like that's been lacking, and there's just been a recent drive for me to like, let's build up that knowledge
It's
and
more
make
like
that a part of my
you've
life.
got you can see the components and understand the components that they're talking about, but there's so much more to that concept or whatever, like the topic is that you've like missed out on.
Yeah.
To understand it fully.
Yeah, because you don't have the full content. You just have what they've picked out as important to whatever they're talking about at the time.
Yeah.
And like I said, thankfully for podcasts, because I don't know how ignorant I'd be if I never took on podcasts. I hope I would have started reading earlier, but I don't know. But no, just started reading. And I think it's going to be hugely beneficial.
Yeah.
And writing too. I'm going to start just writing out thoughts, writing out maybe even recaps
Do like
of
a
the
daily,
books.
like a not like an essay, but like a recap of the book. Or
I mean, essays, recaps,
Yeah. Even like do a daily journal dinner. I can see you doing that.
Yeah, I've started doing a daily
What happened
journal.
today? Oh,
Not even that, just I can do that maybe.
Luke
but,
pissed me off at work.
But literally, I'm just going to
Happens.
every day just write at least 15 to 30 minutes of whatever's in my head, just gathering thoughts and that. Again, apparently a hugely powerful way of just getting your life in order.
Yeah.
It makes sense that it's a way to learn to better articulate your thoughts.
And that's what Jordan Peterson, he says writing is the best way to gather your thoughts and intellectually make an argument or get across what you're saying.
Well, he said something about anyone who is a high-level communicator can generally get paid well, and obviously pay isn't the end result and the be-all and end-all, but you do sort of want to be rewarded in that way at some point in your life. But that was really interesting, that no matter what you're doing, as long as you can be a good communicator, you'll probably be successful.
Yeah, if you can articulate what you're saying well, articulate your ideas, it's exponentially, what is the word?
You should start writing.
Yeah, exactly. If I only written for an extra 30 minutes.
No,
but it's just beneficial.
It's like the whole,
beneficial.
It's like the whole like thing about like internalizing your thoughts, and then when you say it out loud or you write it out, you actually are better understanding your own like situations. Like happens, like I'm not saying it happens all the time, but like you're thinking about something and you probably go round and round in your head about something, where if you write it out or you say it out loud to someone, you actually think about it more and have like a different perspective of it.
Or even just the practice of that.
Yeah.
So it could be something completely different, but I guess practice.
Yeah.
It's like when you're telling a story to someone, like you think the story's great, or like, you know what I mean? Or like you're trying to explain something, but that's your internal thoughts. But if you've got it written down, or like when you're saying it out loud, it's a different perspective and comes across in a different way.
Sort of like now.
Yeah. Jeez.
Wow.
Thanks. Welcome back to the show.
Trying to make a point, and then you're just cutting him off like that.
No, you're right, Luke.
No,
That's why I changed the name, guys. It's lukewarm. It's a Luke show.
I agree with everything you're saying.
Exit stage left.
Yeah, it's interesting because I listened to a few audiobooks too in the time, or like since starting reading. No, see, I need to write more. I listened to a few audiobooks in the past before I started reading, right?
Yeah.
And I also feel like for me, I don't know if it's everyone, I can't take it in as much as when you're just sitting there solely focusing on it, on the reading. Because I think maybe it's because I did it while I was driving, while doing something else, you're not fully engaged in it.
It happens when it happens for me when I listen to podcasts. If I'm listening to a podcast and because Luke's complete opposite, we'll get to you in a second. But when I'm listening to a podcast and I'm like on my phone, like it happened the other night, I was listening to a podcast and it's got on YouTube, so it's got like a visual component. And then you're kind of on your phone and you're listening, and then you're like, you got to rewind, or like you don't quite take it in, and you feel like you missed something. And then you hear them like on this one, like hear them get excited, or hear the guy like start saying something really interesting, and you're like, oh, tune back in, and like,
Yeah.
Whereas for Luke, like the guy goes to the gym, has it on 2.5 speed, and just doesn't take in any of it.
Yeah, it takes in the 85 words he thinks are important from that whole podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree. I think there are times when, you zone out, I guess.
Yeah, you zone in and out of it. But it's like, for me, when I'm like...
But I have that issue with reading.
You do?
And it's probably practice.
What is it? You don't think you're efficient enough at doing it? Because it's a huge time commitment?
Realizing, but also just I'm bad at realizing what I've read.
Oh, well, yeah, you did say that to me the other day. Like retaining whatever you've read. Thankfully, I found from that first book, every time I picked it up to start again, I had remembered what I had read the day before.
Yeah.
So I was like thankful that wasn't
an issue. And because you finished it within a few days. Yeah.
Maybe that's it. Maybe it's because I did it over those. But I was worried, like, am I going to be able to just retain what I just read? But I was able to follow that.
Follow the story. Yeah. It's like
read?
the whole thing about, I don't read too much, but I'm big on the podcast. And I read like, it's not class as reading, but I read
Make
like
sure it's in front of your mouth.
yeah. Sorry, he's got me holding the mic, guys. But anyway, like I read like articles on like something I'm interested in. So I read like an article on sport, or like read a news article, or like I read captions, like those those the really long philosophical kind of what I mean,
quotes.
like quotes and stuff, like that kind of thing. But podcasts definitely. But I feel like for me, it comes down to reading. It's like that the whole idea of that instant satisfaction kind of thing. Whereas like for me, like the time commitment, like if I'm going to read a book that's say 500 like pages, it's going to take me 2 weeks to get a story that, you know what I mean? Like to find that. And it's the problem with this generation too. Like it's a whole concept of like that quick fix, or like that quick point of like getting the information and like
I
running
don't think
with
there's
it.
anything wrong with that.
No, I don't think
provided
it's
it's accurate. But yeah, quickly getting information, I think it's okay.
Yeah, but do you know what I mean? Like even now, like social media is like as well. Like you can just keep scrolling. You can see the next thing. Like there's so many components in like day-to-day life now where you can get something so quickly and so accessible. So like that time to sit down and read like a book, or like take time to do something to get not the same result, but like that feeling of I've just accomplished something, or I've just gained knowledge, is so much longer. That's why I feel like reading for me, like, I don't know, it's a whole, construct, but you know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, you feel like, and you also feel like there's a sense of accomplishment once you've finished the book, as opposed to watching a video on YouTube or something.
Yeah.
Like you feel like you did something, you learned something.
Yeah.
Kind of like you earned the knowledge you got from that book more so than just quickly looking at it.
It's patience.
At least,
I think it's big patience, because like I said, day and age now, like you can get that satisfaction and learn so much of like visual components or things that are actually like stimulating in a way. Whereas I feel like a book for me, like unless I really like, I've read like sports biographies and like stuff before, which I find really interesting, and like the stories and that come with that. But sitting down reading a book, it's like I don't have the patience, and I just get bored like reading it. It's not that I don't like reading. I think I don't like that. That time commitment of something that I'm not that interested in.
Yeah.
It's like through school, like when you had to read a book, like barely would not read it, but like because I'm not interested in the topic, so why am I going to sit there and take, say, a couple hours or whatever it is to read a book that I'm not interested in and waste that time?
Yeah. That's why the ones I chose to buy were the ones I'm like, I can read these because I like the concept behind them, and the rationale behind why this person thinks they're good to read is enough for me to be motivated to go and read it. And it's still hard, like, because I'm not used to reading now. Forcing myself to do it, that's still a bit of a challenge at the moment. But once I start, I tend to find it hard to stop, which is good.
Dad's a big reader, and he like the way he like we'll go on holidays, like he doesn't read all the time, but it's his like way to relax. Whereas for me, and he like obviously reads topics like that he's interested in and stuff. So and he'll like finish a book if we go away for a couple of days, kind of thing. That's just how he is. But like that, in that way to relax, like I don't find it a relaxing or a calming like experience. Like I feel like it's almost a chore in a sense, unless I'm really like interested in the book, or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I feel like it's a chore at the moment because when I was finished, I was satisfied with it and I was happy that I did it. And I'm like, okay, I can see why this book is referred to and things like that. But it does feel like a chore. And I think that might just be until I've developed it as a habit, until I've done it enough, or until I've like written about it and try to work out the meaning of what I just read and try to come to some kind of understanding of why I read it and why it's valuable to me.
Yeah.
I think it might involve that, but I think pushing through that chore phase, it might become something that it doesn't feel as hard to do initially.
Yeah,
but
it becomes more of a routine.
I think so.
And you set that time aside for something. Like, that's what I've been thinking about so much with the things like I'm involved in. It's trying to set that routine and make everything as seamless as possible. Because you get to a point where it's like, oh, I've got to do this now, or like I want to do this, but where's the time to do it? But once you're in a routine, it's so much easier to like get that stuff done, especially that stuff that's like for you personally. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you were talking about writing to get that understanding as well, it made me realize when I'll watch a movie, which is rare at the best of times, but if it's a true story or based on a true story, I'll often go back and on the internet just sort of learn about the movie. And then with this understanding and appreciation, I love the movie 3 times more just because I understand 5 more things or details about it.
I think that's why I have watched King Richard and like I think that's why people love that movie so much.
Have you watched it?
Yeah, and because they just seen like they know the story or know enough of the story to appreciate how the movie's made and like the journey that they've like went on.
Did you watch it before or after the slap? What?
After.
After it was twice as good for something.
Yeah.
Downloads and streaming just went up.
Great actor, but yeah. Like, do you get what I mean though? Like,
Plays a part.
Yeah.
yeah, like that people knowing the story, knowing how that outcome, like they knew the whole story, but seeing it like put on the screen and as part of a movie, and it was just like amazing, like really cool.
Yeah, and that feeds into what we were talking about before, where it's like, it's not necessarily the outcome that's interesting, like with the wrestling. It's the story and the way it's told.
Yeah.
Even if you know what's going to happen.
And-
it's a dramatization of
Yeah. That's why I
reality.
really like, I'm really big on like documentaries, like sports documentaries and stuff.
Love them, yeah.
Love them, like, because you just know the outcome and you really, obviously really interested in the topic, but you just know the way that it's worked out. And then to see the journey. Like
It's
I
an
watched,
explanation.
yeah.
closer look.
It's the meaning behind
like I love
what's
that.
happened,
I
yeah.
love that journey. Like people say, like fall in love with the process, but it's like I love watching the process of how they like these teams achieve.
When it came to The Last Dance, I mean, have you watched that one?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
you've watched
Yeah,
it.
so good.
Just seeing Michael Jordan and Dennis Rodman, like in the locker room.
Yeah,
Just
Oh,
okay, they're
that's-
smoking a cigar or they're having a beer
that's
after
what I mean.
the game.
That stuff is like what I like. Or like you hear the stories and you read the stories about like this is what we did after this game when we won. We went out and did this and this happened and that happened and
What about Dennis Rodman, man? He's a character.
ridiculous.
And behind the scenes of the guys back in the day where their whole career isn't on social media like it is now.
Yeah,
Like, it wouldn't hit the same watching 2021 Barcelona or whatever achieving something like. I don't
That's
think it
what
would
I
hit
mean.
the same as
yeah,
these guys back when you just heard stories about it. Now you can see like a
Yeah.
representation of it, and you're like,
Mm,
and
there's more to
when
it.
it's
I
so
like that.
when it's so far in the like
in the past.
part of history, yeah, and it's in the past. It's like you've got a snapshot into a whole era. It's so like for me, obviously, wasn't born in like that era. You see what it was like, and you see how they dressed, and like you see the way they like interacted. It was just it's so cool to see something like that.
Yeah, I love that. I find a good sport doc. I'm so happy.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's
So
why
happy.
I've just recently got Amazon Prime, and there's so many on there.
Do they? Okay, so I haven't
Yeah.
even ventured into that.
Yeah, and
'cause
it's pretty cheap.
I've
So
been
like I was
looking.
like, sweet, this is cool. And like there's some like I've watched one or two that I was really excited and hyped to watch, and they like weren't as good.
didn't hit.
And then there's like a whole series, like there's one called All or Nothing, and it's followed
I
followed
love that
Tottenham
series.
before.
What's it on?
It's like they follow sports teams. So like there's a whole All Black series. They followed the All Blacks.
Sure.
I think it was for a rugby championship or I don't
Did
know.
they do NFL? Did they do American
Yeah.
football? Because that's where I think I know them from. I don't remember.
I think they have, or they're in the
Started
process
out
of
with
filming
that?
one.
Right.
But yeah, and then they've done like a Tottenham Hotspurs. They're doing an Arsenal one.
Mm.
Like there's a few that they've done. I think there is American football. You're right. But
Because
yeah,
I feel like it might have started like that, but they now must
Yeah.
be venturing into other things. That's awesome.
because there's even like a series that I watched, and it's like obviously nowhere near that level, but like and they followed like a sports team here in Brisbane, like a school-based team,
Mm.
and just seeing the journey of like them training in the preseason and working through each game, and then the emotional like highs and lows and the process to them winning, or then like one of the series they didn't win. It's just so cool to watch,
Mm.
like that process and how it works.
It almost doesn't matter the level of the team.
That's right.
Like obviously, if you
Yeah.
know the team already, it's great.
Yeah,
But in a similar sort of thing, I can't remember the TV show on Netflix.
Cheer.
No,
That's another one. Cheer's fantastic.
it could be. But yeah,
The
just-
American football college,
yes,
the college football
JUCO
team.
football teams.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, low level
Hard Knocks.
teams.
No,
Yeah,
Hard
well
Knocks.
produced. It wasn't that. Yeah, well produced shows that give you an insight and understanding. Because when you're told back to the WWE thing of who you're going for and who you're going against, it's very easy to follow along.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know your position.
Yeah.
You're happy to go along with it because it's.
yeah. So I feel like with the sports things as well, like there's just so many factors that go into it as well. Like you can see team culture, you can see
Last
how
chance
hard they work. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like it's a whole. There's so many factors that go into it. So like seeing the whole process and how it works, and like the day-to-day stuff, I find like really, really interesting.
Do you reckon we'll ever get over it?
Over what?
Overseeing insights into.
No, I don't like. For me, I just want to find the next one. And like I won't lie, some of them are boring. Like you're like, oh, this is a bit slow. Like I want to see like their day to day, but I also want to see, like how they go. Like I don't want to watch like a 26 episode, You know, I want like a 10 episode
yeah.
thing going.
Mm.
I want to
'Cause there
see
is
the
a perfect
process.
length.
Yeah, and the snapshot, I feel like you can drag it out. Definitely drag it out.
You can just chuck in random
Yeah.
footage of them working out and training. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, whereas the stories and the interviews that go with it is what makes it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting just seeing the streaming platforms battle it out at the moment.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Because it's sort of unreasonable to have
'Cause-
Binge, Stan, Hulu, Disney Plus, and
Well,
Amazon Prime.
you know what?
But they've all got something that you want.
It was crazy the other day. So I got an Amazon Prime to watch these specific documentaries and stuff. And then Mum was like, can we access it on the Foxtel? And we looked, and you can only access Netflix, Stan, I'm not sure the other ones. Yeah, a few of them. And then the other day, like opened up Foxtel, and on the homepage, new to Foxtel is Amazon. So you can now access it through there, and you just log in. And I'm like, oh, that's just so smart. See, Foxtel have got to work out a way
To keep relevant.
because we worked it out. Like,
Yeah,
it's
Foxtel
not,
would have to be struggling.
that's what I'm saying. But so we've had it for ages. Like, it's just what we've always had.
We'll switch to KO.
But yeah, like if you can access your KO, your Netflix, your Amazon, your Stan all in one place, and then Foxtel can like obviously have it on there as well, so you get all of Foxtel's features. Like, you know what I mean?
One-stop shop.
Yeah, one stop stop.
But you also only want to pay one fee, though.
Yes.
If you could negotiate...
So you're still paying your
if
Amazon
you could have
fee,
the
I
five
guess.
of them come together, or there's more than five.
Yeah.
No, but if they
12.
came together and said, okay, we usually wouldn't buy Binge, but we will pay $30 a month to have more than
but also
one.
The
Or
argument,
something like that.
The argument there is too, you can get Netflix, Stan, Amazon, a few like Binge, all for still cheaper than Foxtel subscription per month.
Oh, Foxtel's ridiculous. But then you've got KO. I think sports is the expensive one because KO's 22, 25.
That's what binge is too. Binge is around
is it?
25 or something.
Even on Foxtel, like you can delete the channels that you don't want, and it brings down your like bill and stuff. But like we had Foxtel to start with for the sport. Like we didn't, and like obviously the movies and like stuff. But the sport was what we wanted it for. And then like we had like the Premier League was on there and stuff, but now it's not. So you find yourself like I had to plug in the Optus to watch the Premier League, or like you got to plug in like these days like the A-League's on Paramount.
Do you reckon?
By the way, the worst streaming service there is.
Paramount. Yeah. I think I watched one show on Paramount. I downloaded it for the free trial.
Shout out to Paramount for being the worst sports streaming service there is.
Oh, they're bad with sports streaming.
Oh, they're just horrible. And like at the start, like the quality was bad. The commentary's a joke. Like the commentators are just not quality.
Old school Optus.
Like they play ads during play.
Oh, that's bad.
And like it was just fucked.
Oh my god.
And like they play like you know like when you're watching sport and like there'd be a stoppage in play, so they'd play an ad and then you'd come back and like the game would be playing.
Back started.
It's like you know what I mean. I was like, mate, these guys need to work it out. Like even YouTube streaming like of like the local leagues is better than that crap. And you're paying like $14 a month for Paramount.
Do you reckon there could ever be just one? Because Foxtel was just one at one.
It was, yeah. They were it. They were it. Yeah.
Do you reckon it will ever be?
Well,
it wouldn't take like Netflix to just buy them all up.
Yeah, I think someone would have to buy them all out. But Foxtel was the first place after like Blockbusters and those kind of shops where you could get all the movies and all that kind of stuff all in one place.
Netflix used to do that. Netflix used to be a disc service.
DVDs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you'd post in your disc, post them back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Netflix been around a while.
Wouldn't you just knock it off?
Yeah, you'd burn it and
and then it'd be a whole piracy issue.
Oh, for sure. I'm sure that wasn't a great business model.
Like I kind of missed it, but before like you could when Blockbuster and stuff were around and before Foxtel, like all that stuff were burning. Like it was huge. Like,
I'm sure. Yeah, I can't remember.
Oh, I had this movie burned. Like who wants it?
Yeah. Even you know what we don't do now? We really don't pirate just by going on some other website.
Well, I was watching
to get something because there's some free trial that will get us.
Yeah.
The one we want anyway.
I was like watching this podcast the other day and they were talking about it. Like back in the day, everyone had that one mate or someone through someone that knew how to burn, and you'd go over or like you'd call them and say, "Do you have this?" or like, "What do you got for me this week?" or that kind of thing. And it was like a whole like not small business.
Yeah, what's the
like,
latest?
What's the latest? Like what have you got? And it was like apparently you'd watch it and then have like the warning, like the piracy warning.
That's right. And then steal the you wouldn't steal a computer.
Yeah. So good. So stupid.
That kind of stuff. And it's like that was like a whole generation of that, like ripping them all off.
Remember you'd get the copies of people who would have a camera in the cinema
Oh, yeah.
So you get the track of people laughing as well.
that
was bad.
immersive experience.
Yeah. And then someone would like, their arms would get heavy and it'd slowly just cut out the top.
Yeah.
What's the motivation behind that guy doing it? Just like, fuck the system. I'm recording this
Yeah.
and uploading to this.
Well, there's probably some way of making money of it. Well,
You
there
reckon?
definitely
I don't
But
think
see-
so.
I know we were in Fiji in 2007 or 2008. We were there both
The
years.
bootleg guys.
Yeah. And it was like $2 a DVD. And
Yeah.
some of them were good, well pirated DVDs. Some of them were they're in the movies refilming the
Yeah,
movie.
and
But for
they're,
$2,
they're
I think
fixing
it's
their antenna every 2 seconds so they can keep filming. That's the other thing too that we were talking about with Dad the other day. Like, you used to have to play with the antennas so much because they weren't through streaming services, like through online. So it was just a signal. So like you'd never get you wouldn't always get this clear picture. And then now, like when you watch things, like if you get a crap picture, like a bird shat on your Foxtel like satellite, you know what I mean? Or like your Wi-Fi's gone
Turn
down.
up Wi-Fi
Yeah.
off. And
Yeah.
Call up Optus.
You know what I mean?
Get the NBN box reset.
We're
Yeah.
snobs for a clear picture now because you see anything that is remotely not clear,
Well,
it's like the end of the world. And
This what
10
happened the
years
other
ago,
day. I
10
was
years ago, it's
at a
fine.
mate's place and we were watching the like NRL and it wasn't in HD. And I was like, this is blurry as, like, because I always watch it like in HD. And then I was like, can you change it to HD? And he changed it. He's like, what? Like he didn't think about it. I was like, yeah, like I can't watch it unless it's in like a decent. You know what I mean?
Just fucking go.
You know what I mean? Though?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
because
when you know the
annoy
difference,
you.
when you know
Yeah.
that, like it's not that like I only watch it in HD. Like I'll still watch it, but you just notice the difference when like you're so used to watching it in that like high resolution.
Yeah, we've become so acclimatized to just
Yeah.
being, that is the picture quality. That's the standard. That's not even like
Yeah.
really good. That's the lowest we'll
And that's
accept.
why, for like, shout out to Paramount again for being crap, but like that's why they were blurry. Like, and you
Oh.
could tell like they'd go in and out of like focus and stuff. Like, oh, not focus, but like it'd
Yeah,
go
yeah.
blurry and like it wasn't a great picture like when Foxtel used to stream it.
But if you're gonna have bad audio or bad visual, you're much better off having bad visual. That's one thing of
Yeah,
sort
I
of
agree.
realised.
Audio just irritates you.
Bad
Yeah.
audio is painful.
for what though? Depending for what? For sport, depending on how it is, I would rather bad audio. Sorry, you'd rather have good visual. than
Yeah,
bad.
That's what
it
you're
I
saying.
get what
really
you're saying,
depends.
but
Anything else, you're
Depends
probably
what it
right.
is.
Yeah,
Like, for me-
I guess volume doesn't come into the experience
No,
of
even though you
of
love
the
some of the
match.
commentators, but
Yeah,
I'd
okay.
rather them
love
be
like the Premier League.
movie and TV shows.
yeah,
If you're watching some sort of non-sport entertainment,
audio.
you need
for
the
sure,
audio to
yeah.
be crispy.
Like I'll watch a Premier League
Which
game.
is why we can still watch The Godfather, sorry, Stos,
Yeah, you're right.
in 1970.
Yeah,
And even though it's filmed in 440
yeah.
megapixels or whatever it is,
440p.
yeah, but it's still acceptable
Yeah,
because the audio is still there.
Yeah,
You're watching.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, but I'm saying like, for depending on what it is, like sport or whatever, like I'll watch the Premier League for the commentary as well. Like I watch a game of a team that I'm not interested in because the commentary is cool. It's like a whole experience. So, like the visual, like even when you go on Optus Sport, like the whole visual of the Premier League and the way they broadcast it is part of the whole experience. Whereas like that's why it's so noticeable when you get something that isn't like to that high quality.
Give Paramount a chance though, because when Optus Sport
Yeah.
first adopted Fox,
Yeah, I know,
Premier
horrible.
League, yeah, they had a rough time that first World Cup that they had.
Yeah,
They were streaming
cutting
issues. There were
out-
I
problems.
remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people were like, "This is the biggest mistake ever." Foxtel should have kept
Yeah.
pissed off. And then after a year or two, they
Yeah.
pretty much mastered it.
It's like-
so maybe Paramount will come along.
It's
Who
like
knows?
the whole thing about it used to be for the cricket when the cricket moved from Channel 9. It was like the broadcasting's not the same.
I want to see Michael. I mean,
Yeah.
Michael Slater's in the shitter, but
Yeah.
you want to see those guys
Yeah.
doing
I want to
the thing,
see
it's who
I
you're
want
used to.
that cute that like crew of like people on
the
commentary.
same cast.
And it's like not the same broadcast and they don't have the same like halftime
They don't
show.
have the same intro music.
Yeah.
The dun, dun,
Yeah, oh, the best.
The wild world
That
of
is
sport
that is
music.
Aussie Summer in a
Yeah.
nutshell, that song. But yeah, like do you know what I mean? Like when you're so used to something or you know the standard it's gonna be at, it's so noticeable when it's not up to that high standard. And this is what have you noticed recently with different sports? Like you'll get those commentators or like I see it on Fox Sports as well, and like 9 and like 7, those cross like code commentators, and they just don't know the
yeah,
sport.
they don't know. So, yeah,
And
yeah.
it's just like, I'm not listening to you talk about this. Like you cannot commentate. Like I want to hear, if I'm watching like the football, I want to hear Simon Hill and Andy Harper from. I don't want to listen to some bloke from down the street.
Yeah, he does cricket on when he gets
Yeah.
does tennis when it comes around.
Or like Brenton Speed, like for instance, like great with football, and then he's actually doing really well in the NRL. But like,
What's he doing in NRL these days?
yeah, I think he's done a few like NRL and stuff. So like, I hate when you get those commentators who just don't know the sport. Even like the journalists that report on it, it's like, oh, this happened today. It's like, yeah, but that you don't know anything about it.
So, because like in America, you've got the Stephen A's, those sorts of guys that are the analysts. They're not really commentators, I don't think, are they?
Well, he commentated on one of the, or he was an analyst
UFC.
on one of the UFC
Yeah,
ones.
that didn't go well.
And people hated it because it was just such general commentary. Like, people watch it, they want the technical, want to know you know what
understand what this armbar is and
it's
how
like
they...
the Channel 9 like coverage when they like at halftime, like Andrew Johns will be giving the analysis of the play of the try that was just scored.
You want
It's so in depth of like what just happened and like the movement of the defenders and the backline shape and all that kind of thing. It's the same with the football. Like when you watch the Premier League and they'll give you like or you watch Monday Night Football and Jamie Carragher's like breaking down like the goals or like, you know, someone with that, what's the word? Like
they understand the nuances
knowledge,
of it.
And they're just so well experienced in the field. Whereas you get someone, it's like when cricket changed to Channel 7 and it was like not the same guy giving the analysis. It was like, took a while getting used to.
There's a guy for the Big Bash as well, who I think Channel 10 have it. I think he just might be a Channel 10 reporter that they've put on. And it's hard to get around because he doesn't know the same cricket stuff that everyone else does and he's not really adding to the conversation. But do you think those people can still be sort of analysts in a non-commentary role?
But how's it?
They have to be like the host guy asking all the questions if it's like a panel. That's the only thing they can do.
On Channel 9, like that guy, I don't know his name, but the guy who always is the like NRL host, he hosts like the like pre-game and like the halftime show. And like he doesn't know too much about the game, but he's got the like quality around him to then, you know, properly analyze it. It's like who you got on the panel. You know what I mean?
Even in the commentary, the play-by-play guy doesn't have to have the detailed knowledge that the color guy does. They just need to be able to recognize what's happening and say, pass this to him, general commentary. The color guy needs to know the details. They'll get thrown to and ask about all the intricacies of what's happening. Same with analysts.
And
the analysts
have to be... guy?
The color guy is the one...
personality.
Yeah, the guy, usually it's a former player, former coach, or like just an expert generally respected in the game. You look at most of the commentators.
You see it in NBA as well, like Shaq when they like, you know what I mean, like those big players, like former players who are like breaking down something. I don't know too much about the game, but if he's saying it, I'm going to believe it. You know what I mean?
And analysts, they all have to be like able to do that role because the analysts have to know everything about the game.
Yeah,
they got to be the most educated in it, have the most knowledge.
Yeah,
and that's why a lot of it is ex-players.
It is interesting listening to the play-by-play commentators speak. Just at how quickly they're able to keep up and know what's happening.
It's a different skill. That's why not all the ex-players can do it.
It is.
It's a lot of words.
It's knowing the numbers and the players and like when you're doing multiple games and like game after game, that kind of stuff, it wouldn't be easy.
They're typically the ones from the broadcaster background who are not necessarily ex-players and that, but have just, experienced and they've worked their way up there.
Even the play-by-play, when they're someone who understands the game, it's so much easier because like even for me, like the commentator, when like you're watching it and the ball's being played and it gets played to whatever his name is, he's saying it as the pass is being like, happening. Whereas the ones who don't know it as much has to get played there. It's that delay of let me check the number and like tell you who. Yeah. But if you've got knowledge of the players and who they are in the game, that play-by-play is so much easier.
Yeah. And they work their way up to that level. Like even from doing the couple of years I did working for Olympic doing the media, like some of those commentator guys, because you see them, like they know like the players and they're able to just go off it.
Yeah.
And like Brisbane, the whatever NPL level.
Yeah.
They know it enough and they've done their research.
Yeah.
And the play-by-play guy knows who's got the ball before they get it. Like better than I do, and I've been around the team the whole time. They're like quicker at it than me.
Yeah.
It's like it's a different skill.
It is.
They don't have to understand the game as much, but they have to know all the players and what they are and how they've been this season.
That's why I think it's very difficult for when like you get one commentator, it's like especially in those lower levels.
Yeah.
And it's like they've got to do the play-by-play and then give you the colour and like give that excitement when like the goal scored or like, you know what I mean?
Insane. It's so good.
Like
it's
when
impressive.
they move between like both, it's proper skill.
And they're the ones who work their way up to being on the TV eventually. Like they're good.
Yeah. It's like Peter Pasoltis, like he's on there now, like he does the NRL coverage and he started like doing the local like Queensland Cup and that kind of stuff. And can you think about the knowledge of like he'd have so much knowledge about like the the guys in the local league, and then it'd be another challenge going into that national level and like being able to the names, all that kind of thing, even pronouncing like in the moment. Like even me now, like you stuff up words, but like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in the moment, they have to be right on.
You got to keep moving with the play.
Yeah.
Oh, you learn a lot about the game too. As you do it, like years in the lower levels, you get away with a lot of.
But also
not knowing
describing to someone who's not watching as well what's happening.
Yeah.
Okay, where are they in the field?
Yeah.
What type of shot? Where did they go for?
Yeah.
Okay, it's been blocked. Okay, who's got
That's
the ball?
why I just hate the radio commentary.
That's a different level.
That's
like,
just a different
there's so
level.
much going on. Yeah, we can't stand it because we're not
And
used to
they're
listening
10
to
meters out from the line.
What about the horse racing?
Yeah, but great. What side? Who's going to score? And is the try scorer that's going to get this ball over the line the guy I've got on my multi?
Have you listened to the horse racing though?
Yeah.
They got to be on crack.
Yeah, they
To
are.
be. They have to be.
They are, bro.
They're living.
They are.
And they're out of the gates, and number 2 is leading the pack, and number 4 is coming down the line, and they're going down the line on the corner.
Yeah, it's just crap.
It's
so
it's
cool.
rubbish.
Yeah. And it's like, when you, like that of not watching it is like, yeah, that's a new level. That's a different level.
Yeah, it's hard to. I mean, it's great in small spurts, but you couldn't listen to more than one race.
Yeah.
I couldn't. I'd be like, okay.
It's
All
too
right,
much.
relax.
I can't process, mate. Just tell me if my number's going to win.
Yeah.
It was like watching the Melbourne Cup. You can't, and hearing it as well. You can't tell what's happening. To me, they're probably giving a great analysis to someone who actually understands and the positioning of the field. But I don't know.
Like the commentary, though, I think it just comes down to presence. Like, it's a big presence things. Like for the NRL, the presence of having Rabs do like the big games, like in the Origin, like it's him, and he's got like that mic presence, and it's a big game when he's on, and that kind of thing. That's what makes it, I think.
Yeah, there are certain people you want commentating certain games.
Yeah,
and you want.
It's like the Premier League. Like I just hate when they don't have Peter Drury on because you just know you're not going to get the same commentary.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys for tuning in to the number 5 podcast in the world. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Take it easy.
Peace.
Ciao.